Hi guys, it's Mishel, Deception Bytes, and it is now September the 19th. I had to think about that for a second. It's September 19th and it's 12:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through the post from September the 18th. Which was just 15 minutes ago, actually. And so we will then be caught up with the Q post, but of course we will never be caught up with the Q post because Q will post more tomorrow. Anyway, here we go. Now, the first one here, Q is referring to a post of his from September 10th where he said, "Prepare your memes. Non-NSA technology today cannot read or filter memes." Okay, Q. Now, of course, they are putting out articles saying that they can, and they call that artificial intelligence Rosetta. And of course, Q is telling us unequivocally that they cannot read or filter our memes. That the only people that possess that technology is the NSA. Well, interestingly enough, they did try to get that technology by using what was referred to as Snowden II, but he was caught. So it didn't work. Too bad, so sad for the deep state. Okay, so, and then down here, Q says, "Buckle up, memes at the ready." And he provided, now this is from September 16th that he's referring to, but there were two news articles. One was from Wired.com and one was from MarketWatch, and both said that Facebook possessed the ability to filter memes, and it was called, the AI was called Rosetta. And here, MarketWatch said Facebook will start fact-checking memes. Yes, we're toddlers. We need them to fact check for us, don't we? And Q said, "Do you believe in coincidences? The fight is real. The time is now." Q. So, Q was referring to this, and then he adds his bit from today, and the first thing he added is a tweet by Hillary Clinton. Now, if you listen to my video from yesterday, I mentioned to you that I have been sick as a dog, and I think today I literally have thrown up things I haven't even eaten yet. And talking about feeling sick to my stomach, I'm feeling much better now until I looked at this tweet by Hillary Clinton, and then again my stomach was upset because this is unbelievable. Listen to this. Listen to what the Hill Dog has to say. "Donald Trump refuses to be subject to the law." Oh, and she has been so careful to follow every letter, every jot and tittle of the law, hasn't she? "The legitimacy of our elections is in doubt." Oh, yeah, as if our elections were ever legitimate. She couldn't even win a rigged election, but I digress. "The president is waging war on the truth." Oh, is he now, Hillary? You wouldn't know, literally, you would not know the truth if it tap danced across your nose and knocked on your eyeballs. You have no idea what the truth is. And as that movie, what was it? I think it came from A Few Good Men, that movie where he said, "You can't handle the truth." Well, Hillary Clinton, not only do you not recognize the truth, do you not understand the truth, do you not care about the truth, but you cannot handle the truth either. So anyway, the president is waging war on the truth. The administration is undermining the national unity that makes democracy possible. Oh, my. And then there's the breathtaking corruption. Oh, yes. And whose corruption? Are you speaking about your own breathtaking corruption? You must be. It's the only corruption I've been seeing. Anyway, well, I mean, and those of your ilk. But anyway, this is the very definition of projection, and I think it is also the definition of maybe perhaps evil, hypocrisy, mental illness, you name it. Anyway, let's go back now. And underneath here, Q says, define projection. And I think Hillary just defined it quite, I'm so tired, I don't even know what I'm saying. But she did quite well. That tweet is, in fact, the definition of projection. And Q says, deep state panic is real. And then he gives us a link to another article. So let's take a look. Now, look at this. QAnon is trying to trick Facebook's meme reading AI. Oh, really? Spammers, hackers, political propagandists, and other nefarious users have always tried to game the systems that social media sites put in place to protect their platforms. It's a never-ending battle as companies like Twitter and Facebook become more sophisticated, so do the trolls. And so last week, after Facebook shared new details about a tool it built to analyze text found in images like memes, some people began brainstorming how to thwart it. You gotta laugh. I mean, you just gotta laugh. Because Q told us that they don't have the AI. They're just trying to scare us, and it didn't work, and now they're mad. All boo-hoo. Social media companies are under tremendous pressure from lawmakers, journalists, and users to be more transparent about how they decide what content should be removed and how their algorithms work, especially after they've made a number of high-profile mistakes. While many companies are now more forthcoming, they've also been reluctant to reveal too much about their systems because they say ill-intentioned actors will use the information to game them. Oh, it's hysterical because the only place that Q ever communicates is on 8chan. So how do they know that Q is trying to trick them? Have they been hanging out on 8chan? Methinks they have. I think so. That's the only place that Q posts. And I don't remember reading anything about Q trying to trick Facebook's meme reading AI, except that he said they didn't have any meme reading AI, that they did not possess the technology, and that it was a lie. I remember quite plainly him saying that, but I don't remember him saying anything about, let's all get together and put our brains together and we'll just be one big brain sitting there thinking about how to trick Facebook. Come on, people. Seriously? I think they think that they're talking to toddlers, and probably a lot of the people that are. Certainly not the people that are awake to this stuff. But anyway, propagators of the false right-wing conspiracy theory QAnon took interest after Q, the anonymous leader who regularly posts nonsensical clues for followers, linked to several news articles about the tool, including Wired. Rosetta works by detecting the words in an image and then feeding them through a neural network that parses what they say. The QAnon conspiracy theorists created memes and videos with deliberately obscured fonts, wonky text, or backwards writing, which they believe might trick Rosetta or disrupt this process. Many of the altered memes were first spotted on 8chan by Shoshana Wodinsky, an intern at NBC News. Oh, well, she must be brilliant if she's an intern. Give me a break. I have not seen, and let me tell you, I'm out there all the time. I have seen no memes with obscured writing, backwards writing, or something that might be trying to trick this sophisticated AI. Whatever. It's not clear whether any of these tactics will work. Well, they must be working, or you wouldn't be putting this article out, would you now? Do you really think we're that stupid? Yes, you do, don't you? Or how seriously have they been how seriously they have ever been tested? But it's not hard to imagine that other groups will keep trying to get around Facebook. Oh, hail, Lord Facebook. Anyway, I'm not going to this is really making me angry, actually. And it could be because I'm not feeling well, or it could be just because I think it would make anybody that's awake angry. If it doesn't, then you need to pinch yourself. And pinch hard, okay? All right. Anyway, let's get out of this absolute whatever. I was going to call it poppycock, but I don't know. I don't even know where that word comes from. What does it really mean even? Anyway, okay. Think about real-time Q tracking. Okay? September 10 drop regarding memes and the non-NSA ability. Now, okay, so September 10th is when Q dropped the bit about how nobody except the NSA has the ability to filter memes. All right? Then the 13th and 14th, 2 articles drop regarding Facebook memes. September 16, 2 articles dropped, highlighted. So these are the 2 articles that were dropped. And so anyway, examples, September 18th, Wired responds to one article regarding memes and Q, the war is real. Well, I mean, the war is real, but, and, you know, I don't mean to read that in a sarcastic way, because Q is not being sarcastic. He's saying September 18, Wired responds to the articles with what we just read. And he's saying memes and Q, the war is real. So let's look here. Well, actually, I can't, because it's the Washington Post, and I don't have a subscription to it, and you cannot read their precious news articles unless you have a subscription. Now, I do understand that. I really do. I mean, they do have to make a living, but it is frustrating. If you just want to go out there and see the headlines, it's very frustrating that you can't. But we know what it's about, how conspiracy theories spread to the internet's darkest corners. So that is the Washington Post article. I think they give you so many free articles, so you may be able to go out and look this up. I can't, because I have long ago used up my free articles. The power you have is real, Q lets us know. Fight, 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 Q. All right, now I want to come down here to make sure that I haven't missed anything, and I have not. So let's continue on. And you know why? Because we can. All right, here we go. Let's go up to the next one. All right. Now, September 18th, let me see, is this? Yes, it is. It is the next one. I feel like I missed something, but I don't think I did, but I want to be sure. 9-3, no, I didn't. All right. Only the very best for my listeners. Only the very best. Had to check. Okay. All right. So here's the next one, and he's saying example, and he's giving Eric Holder's Twitter status, and let's go down and take a look at what Eric Holder has to say, because I'm sure everyone is waiting with bated breath. This is an especially dangerous abuse of power by this president. He places his self-interest above the national security interests of the country. Oh, does he now, Eric? And he's referring to this article by David Chris. The release of FISAs like this is off the charts. It is especially unprecedented considering that the FISAs have already gone through declassification review and the president is overruling the judgments of his subordinates to require expanded disclosure. Well, that's why he's the president and you're not, David Chris. So, and then below we have another tweet, I believe. You know what? I don't know if I... Hang on here. Hang on. I think I missed something here. Let me okay, yes I did. I missed this, and we need to see this because Q wants us to. So let's go. Take a boo. Come on, hurry up, little hamsters. I think the internet at my house tonight must have taken some Quaaludes because it's slow. All right. Lawless. He is absolutely lawless. At real Donald Trump is the subject of an investigation. Using his power to selectively release classified information is an abuse of power. His days of unchecked abuse are numbered. Tick-tock. We will just mark this as another exhibit. Yeah. You know, he's saying Donald Trump is the subject of an investigation. Oh, is he? What investigation is that? Because I'm pretty sure that he's been cleared. Where have you been, Eric Swalwell? Seriously, where you been? Under a rock? In Iraq? Where you been? You missed it. Anyway, and he's referring to this, MSNBC, breaking! President Trump directs DOJ to publicly release all text messages related to the Russia investigation without redaction of James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Bruce Orr, as well as declassify other material related to the Russian collusion investigation. Don't you think that's a good thing? I mean, if he's the subject of an investigation, don't you think that he, if anyone, should be worried about what's in those? No, really. I mean, if he's guilty, right? These people don't make sense. Like, they make no logical sense. But the problem is that this man got 42,536 likes and 18,000 retweets because the brainless come here and go, oh yes, he makes a good point. Let me retweet that. It's exactly what happens. People aren't thinking for themselves because look, if he's the subject of the investigation, I think he should be more worried than anybody of what they say, right? And apparently he's not. So what should that tell you? Just saying. Okay, let's go back. I forgot how to go back. Okay, there we are. Now, he says abuse of power, reminder, Hussein, executive order. Now, we've looked at this before. I'm just going to quickly show you the link because I don't want you to think I'm just pulling stuff, out of strange places. So let's take a boo at this. We're not going to read all this. Absolutely not, because there's 30 pages. But this is Executive Order 13526. We've looked at this before. It is dated December 29th, 2009, and it was issued under Barack Obama. And, hang on here. Let's go back here. So, it was issued under Barack Obama, and here is the important part. Executive Order 13526. This is what Q wants us to know. Section 1.7. Classification, prohibitions, and limitations. A. In no case shall information be classified, continued to be maintained as classified, or fail to be declassified in order to 1. Conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error. 2. Prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency. 3. Constrain competition. Or 4. Prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security. So, rest assured that President Trump is not releasing information that is against the interest of national security. He most certainly is doing all that he does in the interest of national security. And right here it says that those things were classified for the wrong reasons. And that is against Executive Order 13526 by Barack Obama. Now, you know that's a little bit a little ironic, don't you think, that he made this executive order, and yet I don't know, it makes me laugh. I'm sorry. But, anyway, I'm not going to belabor that. Q says, sleep no more. The American people and others around the world are awakening. Panic? Game over. Q. Yeah, they need to start panicking. And they can make all the fuss they want to about, oh, look at this president, he's mentally ill, or he's incompetent, or he's endangering the interest of national security, but these things were classified for all the wrong reasons. They were to conceal violations of law, inefficiency, to prevent embarrassment to a person, and to prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection. Yeah. So, now we did look at this by Eric Holder, but beneath I just added another Twitter a tweet that I thought you might be interested in. Let me see here. Showdown? In letter, Pelosi, Schumer, Schiff, Warner order intel agencies to ignore presidential order on declassification until consulting with Congress. Can you believe that? The gall. Yeah, they ordered the intel agencies to ignore the presidential order on declassification until consulting with Congress. Now, let's look at this letter. In light of the assurances you provided, we request an immediate briefing to the Gang of Eight from you prior to any disclosure of the affected material by your agencies to anyone at the White House. Among other issues of concern, we will need you to clarify in person the exact review process that will be undertaken, including the White House's role in and visibility into this process, and the specific White House officials expected to be involved. Your agency's proposed redactions and plans to protect investigative equities and sources and methods, including efforts to mitigate harm that may result from these disclosures. And of course, the only harm that's going to result from these disclosures is, the guilty parties themselves. And it may bring harm to them because I'm sure none of them want to go to Gitmo, but, well, they're on their way. Anyway, mitigate harm that may result from these disclosures and how you intend to comply with statutes binding on the President and executive branch offices and employees, including the Privacy Act. Your agency's review and any communication with the White House on the substance of the material should not proceed further until you have briefed the Gang of 8 in person. Thank you for your immediate attention, and we appreciate meeting as soon as possible. And that's signed by Chuck Schumer, Mark Warner, Adam Schiff, and Nancy Pelosi. I bet you that you probably could have guessed these 3 names at least. All right. So, thought that was a very good tweet, and I thought that that I should share it with you. Now, let's go on and see what Q has to say, because that's why we're here. All right. Now, here's the next. And, hang on here. Oh, yes. Okay. I was trying to figure out what I had done there. All right. Here is the next one. I just actually clipped this out and made it bigger so that we could see it. That's what we were looking at just previously here. So, September 18th, and Q is making reference to a previous post of his. And what that post is this. And I've made it a little bit bigger so that we can see it. Now, this is from January 29th, and it says, narrative shift. Nation on alert. Firing Rod Rosenstein equals block Mueller. If you fire Rod Rosenstein, it blocks Mueller. Firing Rod Rosenstein equals a setup to firing Mueller. Firing Rod Rosenstein equals the red line. As you know, the red line is that line you do not cross. What was the Senate confirmation vote regarding Rod Rosenstein? I can't remember, but it was almost unanimous. It was either 97 or I can't remember, but it was almost unanimous. Why did Rod Rosenstein beg Ryan to block the FISA memo from congressional review further advancement? Well, why do you think? Because of what it contained, of course. Real time, 7 congressional members plus 3 senators plus 2 former Obama senior officials plus 4 outside contractors. No CTOP sensitive level clearance at, that's a sensitive classified information facility, I believe. DC Capitol, top security clearance is mandatory for admission. How is that possible? We see you, Q. Now, okay, now he's making reference to that, and we have gone through that before, of course, and the sensitive what is that? It's I always get this wrong. The SCIF. Hang on. SCIF. Sensitive compartmented information facility. I always get the first one wrong when I'm reading that, and I don't know why. I don't know why I can't remember that. It's easy to remember. Anyway, and in those facilities, they actually have, that's where classified information is kept, and in order to go in there, you can't bring a phone or anything to record or anything, and you are watched while you're in there. You can't take anything out. You have to read it while you are in there, and you are being observed, you know what I'm saying, by another person. So Q is making reference to this earlier drop, and then he is providing us with Adam Schiff's Twitter, and then below that he says the deal. Okay, actually, let me show you the Twitter first. Here we go. Here we go. Little Adam Schiff. President Trump has intervened again in a pending investigation by ordering the selective disclosure of classified materials he believes to be helpful to his defense. The DOJ and FBI have previously informed me that release of some of this information would cross a red line. Oh no, not the red line. Do we really care what Adam Schiffy Pants has to say? Because to me, he's disqualified himself long ago. Anyway, so Q is drawing our attention to this, and he's drawing our attention to what he has that Adam Schiff has said. The DOJ and FBI have previously informed me that the release of some of this information would cross a red line. Declass FISA, Rod Rosenstein, Force, red line, new playbook needed. We see you. Yeah. You know, and it's all the same. They fought this whole way through. They didn't want the FISA declassified, and then it came out. It was redacted, and it says Rod Rosenstein, Force, red line, new playbook needed. Yeah, he's saying that to Adam Schiff. You know, I think you need a new playbook, and I would tend to agree. Now, here is the next, and it says, truth to power. Listen carefully. Q. So let's listen carefully to what Q wants us to listen carefully to.
Michael Horowitz is here with us. He is the Inspector General of the Department of Justice. He's responsible for the oversight of the FBI and the DOJ. Since 2015, he has also served as the chair of the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, an organization comprised of all 73 federal inspectors general. This is a very important man, and you know what? He's one of the good guys. Please come forward.
Notice he's speaking at National Whistleblower Day.
Thank you, Jane, for that very kind introduction, and thank you for having me today. This is a tremendously important event, and I appreciate Steve making time available so that I could be here today, because I had agreed to speak down the street at a judge's invitation, and so I had to figure out how to get here today as well, and so very much appreciate Steve making time in this slot for me to be able to be here, because this is so important and something that I very much wanted to be here to speak to you about. Although I must say, had I known I was going to follow Senator Grassley and you, Jane, I'm not sure I wouldn't have come back even later to speak. And what great presentations and discussions. We in the IG community value all that you do as whistleblowers to come forward. This is the 40th anniversary of the passage of the IG Act in 1978. We just had an event here in the Capitol that Senator Grassley hosted. As you may know, he has been here since 1978 and is one of actually 4 members of Congress who has voted on every single piece of IG Act legislation. At the same time, he has moved forward so many important pieces of legislation in the whistleblower area, and they really go hand in hand. It is so important for us as IGs to have all of you be willing to come forward and report to us on waste, abuse, misconduct, mismanagement, what you see in organizations that you've worked with and worked for, whether they are within the agency, with contractors, with grant recipients. I often speak about this with the folks in my office. We oversee in the Justice Department over 100,000 employees. We have one of the largest IG offices with 475 people. 475 people overseeing 100,000 plus people. That doesn't even touch grant recipients and contractors. Gives you a sense of responsibility that can be overwhelming at times for us. To do that job most effectively, we need the employees at the Justice Department be willing to come in and speak to us. We need employees of Justice Department contract recipients, grantees, to be willing to come in to speak with us. That's how oversight gets done effectively. That's how waste, fraud, abuse, mismanagement is rooted out. That's how government is made more effective and efficient. And that's really what, as Jane was saying, you all have fought for over the years. And as Senator Grassley mentioned also, you're not in it for the money. You're in it because you want to see justice done. You want to see what's right done. You want to see government work the right way. You want to see government work effectively. You don't want to see people cheating and stealing and lying their way with the taxpayers' money. And that's what it's all about, and that's what IG's work for, and that's why it's so important that we work on these issues and further these issues. And it's one of the things that I've been proud to see in the IG community over the last several years as we've worked forward to advance issues of importance on whistleblowers and whistleblowing. We've worked closely with Senator Grassley's staffs. We've worked closely with the House and the Senate whistleblower caucuses. We've worked closely with organizations like the National Whistleblower Center. NGOs throughout the government have heard their voices and your voices speak to us on issues that are important, that issues that we've got to work for, that issues that make sure that the people like you all who perform such a vital and important public service, coming forward, speaking the truth, speaking about what needs to change, and making sure that you all never get retaliated for doing so. It's often easier said than done, as Jane was talking about. And I know from my career as a prosecutor, when I was in New York City, and I'm familiar with some of the cases that you've referenced, the folks from New York here, we did a lot of police corruption work in New York City. And again, at the Justice Department, we oversee law enforcement agencies. And it takes courage for anybody to come forward in any organization, but I have to say it takes tremendous courage in a law enforcement organization for people to come forward and speak truth to power and tell what's really going on. And oftentimes it is the only way we learn about what's going on in an organization. It's because of people's willingness to come forward. And so the couple of things I want to mention that we are moving forward on in the IG community and give you a sense of what we're working on. And Rob Storch is here from the NSA, who's now the new NSA Inspector General. I had the good fortune of having Rob as my deputy and start up our Whistleblower Ombuds program, as so many of you know. He expanded it in the IG community and brought together the entire IG community. He's now working with the new IG for the intelligence community, Michael Atkinson, to develop a similar program in the IG community. We've worked on training. The SIGI Training Academy in the last year has had 2 training programs.
Now, I'm going to stop it there because it is kind of long and, it's 7 minutes and 50 seconds. You can go out to if you're interested in hearing more, to the www.whistleblowers.org. But I think the important part here that Q wanted us to hear, and I don't think that this is necessarily for us per se. I think that this was directed to those that are working in the FBI and the DOJ. He's saying truth to power, and he says listen carefully, Q. Now, what he wanted to say is that, look, you know what, they can't do their jobs if those people that are seeing things happening around them don't come forward. So that is what that was about, and I think that it was probably certainly not geared towards us per se, but towards the community that he was speaking to there. Q wants us to know, wants them to know rather, that they do need to come forward and speak about what they've seen. And that takes a lot of courage indeed. Now, this is the last post for September 18th, and this will bring us completely up to date. And of course, he gives us a link and says, goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein, Q. So let's see. Let's go take a look. Greg Jarrett. If Rod Rosenstein defies Trump's order to declassify documents, he should be fired. I would agree with that. Now, 1 second here. I'm telling you, I don't know what is wrong with the internet tonight. It's so slow.
Fox News alerted on another.
All right. Now, President Trump has, I'm not going to read all of this, but President Trump has ordered that numerous documents involving the Russia investigation be declassified. The records have long been sought by Congress under lawful subpoenas, yet the FBI and Department of Justice have consistently obstructed the release of these materials under the guise of classified secrets. This is a convenient alibi all too frequently employed to cover up wrongdoing and abuse of authority by those we entrust to uphold the law. These days, overzealous government officials automatically designate nearly all matters as national security risks, regardless of whether they truly are. Whether the FBI orders Chinese takeout, it is labeled top secret because, it involves the Chinese. False classification has reached absurd proportions. How do we know? Every time information is declassified, we learn that the material should never have been classified to begin with. It was nothing more than a subterfuge. Here are two recent examples. In July, a substantial portion of the wiretap warrant applications presented to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court were declassified. It turns out that no vital sources or methods were revealed in a way that jeopardized either national security or the FBI's secret investigative techniques. Instead, we learned that much of the application to spy on a Trump campaign associate, Carter Page, was based on an unverified dossier that was funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign and composed by a British spy, Christopher Steele, who was fired by the FBI for lying. Now, I'm not going to go through and read the rest of this because I think it's unnecessary. The part that Q is wanting us to see is this. If Rod Rosenstein defies Trump's order to declassify documents, he should be fired. And I agree. So obviously, Q agrees because he has said, goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein. Q. Now, he probably knows that Mr. Rosenstein is going to defy the orders. So maybe that's how it's going to go. Maybe he's going to defy the orders and the president is going to just say bye-bye. So I guess that is, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that brings us up to date with the Q posts. I hope that you guys have a wonderful night's sleep, a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope that you stay well and stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Good night.